Have you ever felt the walls of your home breathe with you, pulse with the quiet rhythms of your most intimate self? There is a profound language spoken in the stillness of familiar spaces, a whispered dialogue between your inner landscape and the rooms that contain you. Your love for staying home is not a mere preference but a complex symphony of hidden desires, unspoken fears, and the delicate architecture of your wounded psyche. Imagine your home as more than walls and furniture. It is a living membrane, a protective skin that shields your most vulnerable self from the chaotic external world. Each corner holds a memory, each shadow a suppressed emotion. The comfort you find in these enclosed spaces is not simplicity but a sophisticated defense mechanism woven from the threads of your earliest experiences. Your childhood echoes within these walls, silent yet omnipresent, like a ghost that breathes through the very foundations of your sanctuary. The rooms you inhabit are not just physical spaces but psychological landscapes. They are maps of your internal terrain, each space a metaphorical representation of a fragment of your fractured self. The living room where you feel safest might be a reconstructed womb, offering the primordial security you once knew. The bedroom becomes a theater where your unconscious performs its nightly dramas, replaying unresolved traumas through the language of dreams and subtle bodily sensations. Your attachment to home is not weakness but a profound act of self-preservation. It is a carefully constructed fortress against the overwhelming stimuli of the external world, a carefully maintained boundary between your inner realm and the threatening chaos that exists beyond your doorstep. Each time you choose the familiar embrace of your domestic universe, you are performing an intricate psychological dance of protection and survival. And if these words awaken something inside you right now, allow yourself to respond with a small gesture of presence, maybe a like or a brief reflection. And if you feel that this journey speaks to something deep within you, subscribe so we can continue exploring these inner landscapes together. The origins of this deep-rooted connection to home lie buried in the murky depths of your earliest memories. Perhaps there was a moment of profound vulnerability, a childhood wound that taught you that safety resides not in movement but in stillness. Your home became more than a physical space, it transformed into a living, breathing extension of your wounded self, a protective skin that absorbs your fears, your unspoken traumas, your most delicate emotional frequencies. Consider how your body remembers what your conscious mind has forgotten. The way you arrange your furniture, the specific objects you choose to surround yourself with, the precise temperature and lighting, these are not random choices but intricate languages of self-protection. Each cushion, each carefully placed photograph, each meticulously organized shelf is a word in the complex vocabulary of your inner defense mechanisms. Your love for staying home is a sophisticated dialogue between your conscious desires and your unconscious needs. It is a delicate negotiation between the part of you that seeks expansion and the part that craves absolute safety. The walls of your home are not barriers but membranes, breathing and transforming with your most intimate emotional states, absorbing the subtle vibrations of your unexpressed longings. The psychological landscape now deepens, revealing the intricate tunnels of your inner world. Those who love staying home are not merely seeking comfort, they are architecting an elaborate defense against the profound chaos of existence. Your domestic universe becomes a carefully constructed theater where the most complex psychological dramas unfold in absolute silence. Imagine your home as a living organism, with each room a different organ of your psychological anatomy. The kitchen where memories of childhood nourishment simmer beneath the surface. The hallway a corridor of unresolved tensions, lined with the shadows of forgotten experiences. Windows become membranes between internal and external worlds, transparent yet impenetrable, allowing perception without true vulnerability. Childhood emerges as the primordial sculptor of this intimate sanctuary. Perhaps there was a moment of overwhelming external pain, a loud voice, A sudden movement, an unexpected disruption that taught your vulnerable self that safety resides in stillness. Your home transformed from a mere physical space into a psychological armor, a living shield that absorbs the reverberations of past traumas, filtering the world through layers of carefully constructed emotional filters. The body keeps its own intricate memory. Your muscles remember the tension of past fears. Your breath carries the rhythm of suppressed emotions. Every object you choose, every corner you create, speaks a language far deeper than mere aesthetic preference. These are fragments of a psychological landscape, silent witnesses to the complex negotiations between your conscious desires and unconscious needs. If you feel these insights stirring something within you, share your voice and support this space with a like. These reflections help others find their way through the same shadows. And if you wish to keep walking with us through these deeper layers of the mind, join us by subscribing. Repression finds its most eloquent expression in the art of staying home. Each closed door becomes a metaphor for a locked memory, each carefully arranged shelf a testament to the human need for control. You are not avoiding the world, you are creating a sophisticated internal universe where every element is precisely calibrated to maintain a delicate emotional equilibrium. The psychology of home is the psychology of protection. But protection from what? Not merely external threats, but from the most terrifying landscape of all, the internal wilderness of unprocessed emotions. Your domestic universe becomes a carefully constructed holding environment, a psychological womb that allows your fractured self to slowly, almost imperceptibly, begin its process of healing. Consider how your relationship with home mirrors your relationship with yourself. The way you clean, the manner you organize, the specific rituals you perform, these are not simple acts of maintenance but profound expressions of your internal state. Each swept floor is an attempt to clear psychological dust, each organized drawer a meticulous effort to bring order to the chaos of your inner world. The walls breathe with you, expanding and contracting with your most intimate emotional states. They are not static barriers but living membranes that absorb, transform, and ultimately protect. Your home is not a place you inhabit, it is a complex psychological extension of your most vulnerable self, a carefully crafted sanctuary where the deepest parts of your psyche can exist in a state of fragile, temporary peace. Darkness descends. Not the darkness of night, but the profound darkness of the unconscious mind. Here, in the most intimate chambers of psychological experience, the true landscape of your home-loving self emerges with savage intensity. Every protective layer begins to dissolve, revealing the raw, pulsating core of your innermost wounds. The body becomes a battlefield where unspoken traumas wage their silent wars. Memories leak through the cracks of carefully constructed defenses like water through ancient walls. Each room transforms into a living archive of pain, each object a fragment of a shattered emotional narrative. The home that once felt like protection now reveals itself as a complex prison of unresolved childhood echoes. Imagine the invisible child living within you. Not the child you were, but the child you could not become. Trapped in the intricate corridors of your psyche, this fractured self moves through the rooms of your current existence, touching memories like delicate, wounded birds. The walls absorb the whispers of unexpressed grief, the silent screams of desires never acknowledged, the profound loneliness of a self perpetually hiding. Your attachment to home is no longer a choice. It is a survival mechanism, a desperate attempt to create a world where vulnerability can exist without immediate destruction. Each carefully placed object becomes a talisman against the chaos of external reality. The curtains you choose, the precise angle of your furniture, these are not aesthetic decisions but elaborate psychological shields. The unconscious speaks in the language of metaphor. Your home is not a physical space but a living organism, breathing with the rhythm of your most deeply repressed emotions. Windows become eyes that simultaneously see and hide. Doors transform into membranes between different states of psychological existence. You are not simply staying home. You are performing an intricate ritual of self-preservation. Trauma lives in the body long after the mind has forgotten. It vibrates in the tension of your muscles, in the way you hold your breath, in the precise distance you maintain from potential emotional threats. Your home becomes a complex translation device, converting raw psychological pain into a language of spatial arrangements, of carefully maintained distances, of ritualistic behaviors that mask profound internal turbulence. The shadows grow deeper. The boundaries between past and present, between memory and current experience, begin to dissolve. Your domestic universe reveals itself as a multidimensional space where time becomes fluid, where childhood wounds continue to breathe and transform. Each room contains multiple realities, each object a portal to unresolved emotional landscapes. Silence becomes a living entity. Not the absence of sound, but a profound psychological state where the most violent emotional storms rage without a single audible tremor. Your home is not a place of rest. It is a complex battlefield where the most intimate wars of the self are fought in absolute, devastating quiet. Transformation emerges from the depths of darkness. The complex psychological landscape you have traversed begins to reveal its most profound secret. Healing is not about escape, but about profound understanding. Your love for staying home was never a weakness, but a sophisticated language of survival, a delicate mechanism of self-protection that carried you through the most treacherous internal landscapes. The invisible wounds start to breathe differently. Those rooms that once felt like a prison now become a sanctuary of awakening. Each carefully maintained space reveals itself as a map of healing, each object a witness to your journey of psychological reconstruction. The walls that contained your pain now expand, offering a new kind of freedom that comes from deep, compassionate self-understanding. Your relationship with home transforms. No longer a defensive structure, it becomes a living, breathing manifestation of your innermost self. The boundaries between internal and external worlds begin to soften. You are not hiding from the world, you are preparing to meet it with a newfound depth of understanding, with a resilience born from the most intimate exploration of your psychological terrain. The child within you begins to heal. Not through aggressive confrontation, but through a gentle, almost imperceptible integration. The fractured parts of yourself start to communicate, to recognize each other, to form a more compassionate internal dialogue. Your home becomes a crucible of transformation, a sacred space where the most profound psychological alchemy occurs. Healing is not about erasing the past, but about creating space for it. Your attachment to home was never about fear, but about a deep, intuitive wisdom. You have been protecting the most vulnerable parts of yourself, creating a holding environment where wounded aspects of your psyche could slowly, carefully begin to breathe, to transform, to understand. The psychological defenses that once seemed like barriers now reveal themselves as intricate bridges. Your carefully maintained domestic universe was never a prison, but a complex healing mechanism. Each ritual, each carefully placed object, each precise arrangement was a love letter to your wounded self, a sophisticated attempt to create safety, to generate understanding, to initiate a profound process of internal reconciliation. If you feel that this story helped you see your own inner landscape more clearly, offer a like and share your thoughts. And if you want this space to remain part of your journey ahead, subscribe. Together we continue the path of understanding, healing, and awakening. The mind is not a fixed entity, but a living, breathing landscape of continuous transformation. Your love for staying home was never about limitation, but about the most profound act of self-love. You have been creating a sacred space where the most delicate parts of your psychological self could exist, could breathe, could slowly begin to heal. In this moment of awakening, you understand that home is not a place but a state of being. It is the internal landscape where compassion meets understanding, where the wounded self finds its way back to wholeness. You are not defined by your past, but by your capacity for profound, compassionate transformation. If something in these words stirred a truth inside you, don't ignore it. Follow the channel and continue this inner journey with me. You were never meant to walk it alone.